Welcome to Curry Gumbo, the podcast where Nicole and Ashley discuss Black film and TV.
So after the tribute, the film opens with Stevie Wonder singing Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever, Jungle Fever.
I think that there's a lightness to Stevie Wonder.
Yep.
When you think of I don't think of sex when I think of Stevie Wonder.
No.
And so I wonder how there's something about Stevie Wonder singing Jungle Fever that put me in a certain mood that if In Vogue was singing a Jungle Fever song or Madonna was singing it, I would feel that's you know what Madonna would have done with a Jungle Fever. But she also a white woman shouldn't sing that.
No.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
If Stevie it was Janet Jackson, baby, and I loved it all. But I did wonder, like, there's an innocence to Stevie Wonder, something that feels like very non-sexual about him. I mean, I think of love songs. I don't think of fuck music when I think, you know what I'm saying? Stevie Wonder's not Jodeci, you know? So I wonder what the film was trying to accomplish with that. Because it didn't necessarily make it light, but it didn't feel sexual to me, and maybe that was the point, because much of this was not. I think that sex, there's a conversation to be had about sex, a very important one, but the point isn't necessarily sex.
No. I'm trying to think. This movie came out in 91, so it's probably filmed around 90. Jodeci wasn't around. Janet was still kind of like Rhythm Nation Janet. Madonna was Madonna. She was like a virgin Madonna. So I'm just trying to think who else would have.
I mean, they mentioned Paula Abdul in the film.
But she just came out, but she was like the hot. This is 91, and she just when did Paula Abdul come out? Like 89, 90? She was like the hot girl. Dallas Cowboy cheerleader thing.
Is it doesn't feel sexual to me. It doesn't feel, and why isn't that the case?
You think it should be a more sexualized song?
I don't think that it should be a more sexualized song. I feel like there is a move away from the explicitness of it all. Because one might want to approach this film from a pornographic lens, as opposed to like having a critical conversation about race relations in New York.
Well, this is Spike Lee, right?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about color now.
Spike Lee does the conversations about race in New York.
Going to have a conversation.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
And he does, and with other Spike Lee movies, he does kind of have the music he chooses is more, I don't know, it has a more like classic taste. I think about all the jazz music that was in She's Gotta Have It, and you would think She's Gotta Have It would be like a more raunchy, sexual music. But no, he went like, let's do some jazz music in the background.
Prince.
Oh,
Prince. Like if Prince and he loves Prince. So like imagine Prince singing Jungle Fever. That's a different Jungle Fever. The top of the film kind of played with me in a way, because I'm hearing a very innocent Stevie Wonder sing Jungle Fever. It almost seems playful, you know? and I'm seeing the credits being delivered via street signs.
Yep.
So, and I think that that's really important. Like, what does it say about how race relations are part of a grand design? Like in the way that a street sign is a part of urban planning, it is very
Mm-hmm.
much a plan to house the Italians on this side of the city and the Black people on this side of the city. Like, that is very much on purpose. And so then there's something about that is somewhat sinister and somewhat, um like critical of the powers that be. And then we move into this really sweet music, and we see the paper boy, and it's like, dang, like we in Harlem, a very like tough-ish city, but it still feels very middle America in that there's a paper boy like delivering the New York Times, and we're about to go up to this house where this couple is making love. But when we see them making love, like it was very hot. Like, they up there tongue games and shit. I'm like, oh, like I just didn't remember that.
With the
Like, this
window open.
window open, straight fucking. I was like, are we really? You really about to like doing all of that
In the morning time. Not even at
in the
nighttime. It's the
morning
morning time.
before you got to go to work? You know that little girl up. You know that
Mm-hmm.
little. You know she could hear y'all straight fucking. So there's this constant feeling of just being off balance. You got Stevie Wonder singing about jungle fever. You got the white picket fence-ish music, but in a very urban space. We got the family dynamic, but they up in there fucking. Like, this don't feel like making love. It just seemed like fucking. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine. Like, couples should do that. But I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
They're a
Like,
very hot and spicy couple. You can
this
tell they're
is
in love. They have an amazing sex life, and everything
yes.
is great, so to speak.
Yes. So we get that. That's kind of like the established, like, we've established his everyday.
Mm-hmm.
Flips everyday. Flip purify.
He, after having sex with his wife, takes his daughter to school, and he goes to work at his architecture firm.
And I like that he takes her to school.
That is nice.
I think that a lot of times we think of the women dropping the kids off to school, even if the
Yep.
woman has a job.
Yep.
Like, we think of them like cooking the breakfast, getting the kids ready. He's the one who goes into her room, wakes her up, tells her what to put on. The mom does the hair, does the breakfast. Like, they share in the responsibility of raising this child. So
Mm-hmm.
it all feels very healthy.
Yep. He has a good job. They have a beautiful brownstone. I think
Yeah,
one thing
it's
Spike
beautiful.
Lee does is shows like New York and like just the neighborhood feel of New York, whether in Harlem or Brooklyn, and these people that live in these brownstones. Because
Yeah.
not too much project life. Not saying nothing wrong with that, but he doesn't really. And I feel like when other New York shows, you see a lot of like small apartments, projects.
Yeah. These are
But
very
Spike Lee
grand.
is
I
like,
mean,
no, we own brownstones here.
yeah. I mean, even She's Gotta Have It, the film.
Yeah.
That beautiful loft, like it
Yeah.
was gorgeous.
And it's a
Yeah.
neighborhood. It's not like it's a
Yeah.
nice neighborhood, even though it is Harlem. Like it's the nice neighborhood in Harlem.
There's a coziness to it that I feel like
Right.
people don't consider when they
When
think
they
of
think of
first
New
of all, I
York,
think
right.
when people think of New York, and I think Spike had a really he probably was a big part of this. Like when you think
Yeah.
of New York on TV, you think of
The
Manhattan.
grittiness. Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And you're not thinking about Harlem, you're not thinking about Brooklyn, you're not thinking about the Bronx, you're not thinking about Long Island, like you're thinking about Manhattan. And
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee is like, nah, like there's life outside of Manhattan. Like everybody isn't dying to get into Manhattan. People really love living in Brooklyn. People really love living in Harlem.
And these are communities. That's the other thing. It's
Yes.
like Spike Lee shows us, even though like these are Italian communities, these are Black communities. This is where everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Like this is not just, sometimes you think of like the city as like you're just a small person
Yeah.
in this big old city and nobody knows you. You don't know your neighbors. Like, no, these neighbors know each other.
Yeah.
Like we look out for each other and this is a real community.
Flip is really good friends with his neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Angie, who plays the white woman love interest is, or fuck interest, is she's very good friends with her neighbor. I mean, I'm jumping all around. She gets kicked out
Yeah.
of her house and literally walks. I'm thinking they're about to walk to a car to leave.
No,
No,
she
they
walked.
literally walk up the street to another house because everyone lives so close
Yeah,
together.
those are her friends. Yeah, those are like her friends
Yeah.
from school, her
Yeah.
girlfriends. They all it's
Her
like just go next
fiance,
door.
Paulie, he lives above the store,
That he works
the
in,
store
yeah.
that he works in, and it's the same five or six gentlemen that come in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like Cheers up in there. Like they stay all day.
Mm-hmm.
They talk much to Paulie's chagrin, but they, folks know each other.
It's one of those things where like it's, even though it's a big city, it's still very small.
Yeah, it does feel very small. And it feels, it's weird because the scenes in Harlem, I know we're in Harlem, and then I know when we're in Bensonhurst, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess I don't feel, because they're not close. Harlem is
Mm-mm.
like above Manhattan, and
Bensonhurst
Brooklyn
is
is,
Brooklyn
yeah,
on the
I
over the
don't,
bridge. Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's the way it's shot. It's not choppy. I dare not call it choppy, but I'm like, I don't get the sense that these places are far away from each other. And maybe that's because I've lived a
Well,
long time in
maybe
Atlanta, and you can
not too
have
much far, but just a different. I
culture.
mean, it depends on how you can. They're far and they're close at the same
Hmm.
time, because we're talking about Brooklyn and Manhattan. So yes, it's far, but it's also close, and it's also a different world. It's just like a couple train stops away. You're like
I
in a
don't know
whole.
about. I think that we're thinking of that because we live in the South. I think that
No, like I
Harlem
understand.
is
Like I
far from
get the map.
Brooklyn.
No, yeah, I did, but it's depending on how. Like, what do you consider far? An hour, 30 minutes, an hour.
I think if I gotta hop on more than one train, is far.
Okay, but you can hop
Cause
on more than
I
one
probably
train to
I
get
gotta,
10 minutes away, though.
huh?
You can hop on more than one train and go somewhere that's not far, depending on where you're going.
I feel like the way people in Harlem be talking about, I think people in Harlem will go to the Bronx before they go to Brooklyn.
That's true.
Oh, and no one's going to Queens. Like I just
No,
feel
I
like,
get that.
they don't want to do all of that.
But my point
Like,
is, what is far? Like, we're not talking about 5 hours. We're still talking about within an hour.
oh, Angie is the new temp. He mad because
He wanted
they're,
the black lady left, and he wanted another black lady to replace her. And he expressed this to his superiors, and they were like, well, whoever's right for the job, that's all that matters. And he was like, well, they hit him with the reverse racism. And he was just like, now y'all playing in my face.
It seems like, so there's the short one and there's the tall one. I don't remember the names. But the tall one it seems like he's sadistic almost. Like he wants to get under Flip's skin. Oh, well,
Yeah.
fire her. Yeah, you go ahead and fire her. Fire her because she's white. Tell her that. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why? What? It just, even when Flip quits the job, the taller guy is the more aggressive one. It's like,
yeah, because the
he's
other one is trying to get him like,
Yeah.
hey, come on, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And the tall guy like, let him go.
He's adamant about putting him in his place. And I think that he is like a lot of racist white people, where they think that Black people asking for what they deserve is entitlement.
Too
Like
much.
they read that as entitlement, even though I believe Flip when he's like, nigga, I built this motherfucking
I'm sure
firm,
he did.
hoe.
I'm sure
I
he
built
did.
it. And I'm sure that Spike Lee is making a comment on how Black people just nationally like help build the country, like literally people of color period like help creating like this place. And white people act like, no, we did this all by ourselves. It's like, bitch, fuck you.
Or we pay you a salary. What more do you want?
What more do you want?
We give you money for coming here.
Yeah. I mean, there's this there is a power dynamic as far as the staging is concerned when they introduce her, right? Because I would think that, shouldn't I be involved in hiring my own assistant?
Yes.
So they bring her to him, right? And so he's sitting down, they're all standing up. And then he stands up for a little bit, probably just to like, so he's not being rude.
Yeah.
Like to really acknowledge her. And then he quickly sits back down because, he is disappointed. And it feels like this is kind of indicative of the power structure in this place. Like he cannot exert any type of power because this is their business and this is white racism at work. That's that. Did you like all of the colleges you saw on the clothing?
On the t-shirts?
Yeah. You got Spike Lee in a Morehouse sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Ming is in a Spellman shirt when she's sleeping. And I feel like Angie, when she gets home and she makes dinner for her father and brothers, Angie's mother, Angie lives at home with her family, her father, her two brothers. Everybody's grown.
Yeah.
The mother has passed on. Angie has kind of taken on the maternal role, the caretaker role. Them niggas in the house, they ain't even ate because she ain't got there yet. Like, they don't know how to make a sandwich.
Exactly.
I'm like, y'all don't know how to make a sandwich? Y'all don't know? She get home, we're starving. Go, nigga. I was at work anyway. But while she's making dinner, really while they're eating and she's in the kitchen kind of straightening up or she has on a Kearney shirt. Did you see that?
I don't remember.
It said Kearney and there was a tiger on it, and I looked it up and I feel like when I looked up Kearney and put in tigers, it brought me to the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
That's their athletic.
That's their mascot.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is right. Like, cause why is it called Kearney and not? I think that's just the athletics building. The point is this: I don't know what Kearney is, but it wasn't. It felt like a school sweatshirt to me. Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed
Yeah.
to, it felt like, and so that also felt like just a difference in the culture. Like, so we got Spelman Morehouse, we're showing Black colleges. She's got on a Kearney, like Nebraska. You ain't even got on no NYU. You ain't got on no CUNY.
Probably didn't
You ain't
go
got
to,
on.
and I'm like, probably not NYU.
I don't think she went
Maybe.
to. But I don't. What I'm saying is there are tons of people who will wear a Morehouse shirt, ain't never stepped
Never been
foot
to Morehouse. Yeah, that's
on
true.
Morehouse. It's the same thing with Howard. And I think that white people do the same thing. Like they like
Yeah.
certain teams. So it's like niggas got on UGA sweatshirts, ain't never been to Athens. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So it's just like it's showing a difference there as well, in that, like, things that they celebrate. If y'all know what Kearney is, y'all let me know, because that probably was a store in fucking Bensonhurst. I don't know.
Could have been her high school.
Could have been. Yeah, let me see.
I don't know if that's a real high school, but it could have been.
Because she goes to Catholic school.
Oh,
Bishop
never
Kearney High
mind.
School, New York City, Roman Catholic High School.
Oh, that's what it says?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mascot Tiger. So
Well,
yeah,
there you
she
go.
goes to Brooklyn. Yeah, like, so you see what I'm saying? Like,
She ain't go to college. That's she went to high school.
and so I feel like that also shows a difference in
It's in Bensonhurst.
in income, because you have on your high school shirt, they have on private. These are
Well,
private colleges.
but looking this up, Kearney is a private school. Yeah, it's a private school, so all girls private school. I think what it shows is that because throughout the movie, Paulie, he gets the application from the Black girl in the store to go like to NYU, and she's like, "Hey, check out, like, fill out the application, like, get it back to
Is
me,
it
let me know."
NYU or is it Brooklyn
Oh,
College?
sorry, Brooklyn College.
It's a whole difference. There's
No, but
difference.
my point is college. I think sometimes, in what it seemed like in their community, going away to college isn't a thing, because
They stay home.
she's
Yeah.
expected to stay home and care for her brothers and her dad. They're like, why were you going to college? Like, we're right here. And even her girlfriends, I don't think any of her girlfriends are like going to college. They're focused on, I guess the step would be to get married at 22 and start your family.
Yeah.
That's just what it seems like. So I don't think it's more
I
of
think
like
the same can be said, like, so it's also the same for Paulie too. So like you said,
yeah, that's
like
what I'm
they're
saying. Like, for
going to,
him, my
and
point,
also he is taking care of his father
yes.
in the same way that Angie is taking care of hers.
So
Yeah.
my point with Polly was that he wasn't even thinking about college until this Black woman comes and is like, "Hey, like here's the application. Like, go to college. Like, fill it out. Like, I can like help you with this." And he's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me think about it, or I'll get it back to you." So like, college is not a a thing for them. Where I think with Black people, it's like, "Oh, you going to college, or we going down so that like we doing something." So I think it's more of like a cultural thing, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're so close knit. Like, they're not leaving Bensonhurst. Why
No.
would they ever leave
And there's
Bensonhurst?
also something to inherit with Paulie. Like, he's going to inherit that store.
Yeah.
There's nothing for Flip and what's
No, they
Spike
gotta
Lee's
get it.
character name? Skip.
I think so, but they gotta get it on their own. So that's where they gotta go
Yeah.
down. They gotta get it.
Mm-hmm.
They have,
Yeah.
but it's still like, well, yeah, small businesses is major, but they're not leaving their town. They're not moving
Yeah.
away from home.
Yeah. So, it's late. They staying late at work, Angie and Flip. And
Mm-hmm.
he's asking, do you cook? You're a good cook? You're a good
Mm-hmm.
cook? And he recognizes the unfortunate dynamic of that house. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman caretaking in the home. I don't think that's a problem at all. I think it's a problem for Angie because she don't want to do that. Like, she don't want
It's
to
a
cook for them.
problem because it's expected of her. There's no other
Yes.
option. It's
And
not
she
like
don't want to do it.
her dad isn't sitting her down and be like, "Hey, Angie, you're like 20 whatever now. Like, what we gonna do? Like, you gonna stay in New York? You gonna work? You want to go to college? Like, there's no option. It's like,
Yeah.
what time is you coming home and cooking this
Yeah.
dinner? Like, what are
Mhm.
you doing? Why are you at work?
Yeah.
You live here."
And Flip kind of recognizes that, like, that's not the healthiest dynamic. And so he's like, man, all this talk about food, I'm hungry. Quick cut to them eating Chinese food. Now, what I noticed is that they're in different clothes.
Yeah, I had to run that back. So I realized it's a montage of them staying late every night.
Yeah.
And ordering every night.
Now,
Yeah.
and the thing is, why did you have to run it back? Because a lot of times
Because I was
montages will
confused.
no, because the film wanted you to be confused.
Oh.
That's what I realized, because I was like, I said, wait a minute, like, let me run it.
Yeah.
He's wearing a striped shirt. I thought it was like no
Right.
striped shirt. Now, if we were to see this in the movies, we wouldn't have been able to run that back. It just
Nope.
would have.
Nope.
So it just feels like the film is kind of being sneaky with introducing this affair, because it's like, whoa. Because typically you might see the sun go down, come back up.
Yeah.
Then we're back in the office and we're doing the same thing. No, that we enter that montage is very quick.
It's very quick, yeah.
It's
and
slick,
it's like,
is what it is.
It took me a minute. I'm like, is this the same night? Like, it's not the same night.
Yeah.
Like, how many nights they had Chinese? Like, it took. I did have to run it back, and took me a while to
We
figure it out.
eating Chinese food, then we eating Japanese food, because I think I saw some sushi.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing cheesecake. It's like, what the fuck going on? Like, so then all of a sudden he's like, I've never cheated on my wife. And a part of me is like, gosh, this happens quickly.
I know.
And then it's like, but no, it doesn't.
Because
they've been doing this, and it's been under our nose. It's been like, and I'm wondering, like, what are you telling your wife when you get home so late? You've been engaging in some romantic shit this entire time. But but you've kind of been making it innocent. And it's not innocent at all.
No.
Like having dinner with this, you know what I'm saying? Like you getting to know her.
At that time, it's time to go home. It's like, okay, it's getting late. I need to go home and eat with my family.
Yeah.
But she ain't want to go home. That's why she stayed.
Oh, no, she ain't want to go home at all.
Because she was like, nah, had them men fend for themselves.
So I think I looked away. I saw them kiss. Did they have sex?
I don't know if they did. I don't know if it was like yeah, they did. They
did.
In
the office?
I think so.
My God. Trash. So he confesses to his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he did that?
Guilty conscience.
Why else?
Couldn't keep it to himself.
Why not keep it to yourself?
I think to brag.
That's what yep.
Because if he was ashamed, you'd be like, I ain't telling nobody I slept with this white girl.
I was calling him Skip, but his name is Cyrus. So I also think that he wants to be absolved of the guilt, not of cheating on his wife, but he don't want to feel like a sellout. And so he has
Mm-hmm.
to, like, there's this language of like, I don't mean I ain't down. I don't mean I'm less black. You know what I'm saying? But I always been kind of curious. It's like, nigga, yeah, we know. That's why you with that light bright over there. We know you curious. We know.
He tells he's with not only a white woman but a Italian white woman from Bensonhurst. It's like, do you know what they do to black men in this neighborhood? We just saw the tribute in the movie, what they do to black men that come in the neighborhood.
Spike Lee does a good job of showing the Italians' disconnect with whiteness, kind of, because the Italian women are leaving them for blonde-haired, blue-eyed men. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And also, with some of the men that Paulie is who frequent Paulie's store, one of them gets very upset when they call his mom black. She's like, no, she's just dark. They're dark Italians. Did you not know that? It's like, but also for a while, like, Italians were not allowed to be white at all.
No, they weren't white.
Like
they just became white.
got white. They just became white. You know what I'm saying? And so one way you know, I can see folks aligning themselves with whiteness is to degrade blackness. So of course they're gonna like be hard on like anytime blackness presents itself. But it's so interesting, and it's a roller coaster, right? Because when the black woman comes to the store, and she's always getting the same thing, and she's so nice, and even one guy, the Frankie guy, like sniffs her. Like, yeah, I fuck her. I do that. So like there's this obsession with the black body, with the black female. Like there's this, they hypersexualize blackness in a way that's so disgusting, even though they're the ones who are like consumed with sex, you know? But black women are dirty, but I'd fuck her. Like, oh, she smells good, but they're nasty, you know? So there's this, like, they're so confused about how they feel.
But that's
as
all
it
white
relates
people.
to,
That's been white people from the beginning. They would never dare be with a black person, but they want to have sex with black people. But they hate black people. But they have sex with black women. But they hate them. But hey, that's been the story ever since white people came into black people's land and messed everything up. So we say Flip tells his best friend that he has sex with a white girl. Angie tells all her she says she's seeing a man. So the difference is in that she knows he's married.
She know.
But she tells her
friend.
He
know too. He know he married.
Yeah, but the difference is that he was like, man, I messed up. I had sex with this girl from work. But she's telling her friends, you know, I'm seeing someone.
I'm seeing somebody.
Someone from work.
No, you fucking like, a married man. Y'all
like,
ain't together.
So So the way she put it was like kind of weird. And they're like, well, who is he? Like,
but also, the way he's putting it is very weird. We've kind of been dating by this romantic shit that we're doing at the job. You taking me to meet your people. Why are you taking me to meet your parents if we ain't serious? What the fuck?
That part I was like, Flip, what are you doing? Like, do you even want to be married at this point? Like, do you want to be married? Like, it's one thing. So like, okay, you had one night of a mistake, but now this is a relationship. So what are we doing?
You moved into your little apartment.
You got an apartment. Well, we skipping steps. Okay, so she tells her friends that she's seeing this guy from work. She tells them it's a black guy. They're like, what? Girl, you seen the black guy? And then word gets to her family. Her dad beats her ass for being with a black man. That's what she has.
Beat her ass.
that's when she has to leave her house and go to her best friend's house and stay
Up the
there.
street, 2 houses
And
up.
then and then Flip's friend, he tells his wife, and of course the wife gonna tell the other Drew. What's her name? Drew? She gonna tell Drew, like, girl, your man cheating on you. And she kicked him out the house. So now they both homeless. So what do? They go get a home together. I'm like, are we serious?
Or I think he went and got an apartment.
Well, yeah, but he moved her in. But it's like she couldn't stay with her friend. He could stay with her homegirls in Bensonhurst. She did not need to come in that apartment with him. Why y'all living together? That's the point where you say, okay, I'm sorry. I can't do this no more. We can't talk no more.
Yeah.
I done fucked up my marriage. I'm living in an apartment by myself. I'm sorry, but we cannot talk no more.
Yeah. But and at this point, he leaves his job because I think he asks them for a raise.
Well, he wants to become partner, not just a raise. Yeah. He wants to become partner.
And they're like, no.
Partner? Are you crazy?
So he resigns.
Yep.
So he doesn't have a job anymore.
Nope.
I don't know how he paying his rent. And I'm assuming he
probably
paying
got some savings because.
Well, yeah, he has to have some savings. But I'm sure this is dwindling, seeing as though now you're paying two
places to live.
Yeah, because I know you still giving this lady money for this house.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah. So you don't have a job. You are in this odd space in your marriage where you have a girlfriend. And you know, it was so funny when they met his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom is like, oh, has he introduced you to his wonderful wife? It's like being so shady.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, you know, I know about them. And so she's like, oh, excuse me. She gets up from the table and she goes into the kitchen and she's like shaking her hand, like praying to God, like,
she's so. She
like,
tries to be so proper.
Yes, that shit. Ooh, I literally cracked up. And when the dad is reading them for filth, like,
I do not eat with pigs. I don't eat with swine.
And he invited them. What was the point of that? Like, you invited them here.
Well, did he invite him or did Flip say, I'm coming to dinner and I'm going to bring somebody, and they were just like...
No, because the reason, and that's what made it so nasty. And that's what also offered some insight into his character and why he's so fucking stubborn, because his wife is saying like, but you knew she was coming. Why are you acting like this? And then he goes to sit down and she was like, you invited them.
Oh, yeah.
Like they didn't have to come over here. Why you went out of your way to invite them for what?
But why are you telling your parents you have a side chick when you married?
Don't know.
You're not saying, it's not like, hey, dad, mom, and dad, we're getting a divorce and I'm with someone new. No, you are still married and you have a side chick and you're bringing your side chick to your parents' house for dinner. What is wrong with you?
And you're not, when your mom mentions your wife, you don't say like, hey, you know, like she knows about her. I'm making plans to leave. Like,
because he ain't making plans to leave.
You're not at all.
Okay, so the crazy part, so they're in this apartment with no furniture. And they're talking about, I guess, their relationship. Mm-hmm. And I guess Angie is like, okay, so like, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? And then he's like, well, we can't be together. We're not gonna get married or have kids. And because then he says, I can't have a biracial child.
Even though you're married to a biracial woman.
That's another that's a deeper conversation. Why the daughter name was Meg. That confused me too.
I think the wife is right when she says he's always been color struck. He's
Oh yeah.
always had an issue with color. So naming his daughter something that isn't Tasha, that isn't like
But the
name
thing with
you know,
but it's an Asian name. I can see a universal like Rebecca. Okay, anybody can be named Rebecca,
I think that
Jessica, could be
I think
anybody.
that he I think that he doesn't I think that there's a disdain for whiteness. So that's why we're not getting a Julie or a Rebecca. But there's also a disdain for blackness.
Ashley, Nicole. How many Ashley Nicoles were
That's a
born in the
there
90s?
that these are white names. These are very white names that he doesn't want to associate with whiteness.
So he
And I
goes
think
to
that
Ming?
yes, because it's not white, it's not black. It's something else.
Okay.
I really do think that.
Oh, I have no idea why he would do that, but okay.
And I think that the conversation, what I love about this film is just like the explicitness of it all. When the women are having the conversations like, hey, you know, y'all had it easy because y'all are light skinned, I'm a dark skinned woman, they never wanted me, now they want the full shebang, now they want just straight whiteness. It's like, yeah, I don't want to, like, it's hard out here dating because the men either are in jail, they you know, there's not very many straight men, and also the ones who are available, they know they the shit and they dating 15 women at the same time. It's like we can't win out here. I also like the conversation that Flip is having with Angie when he's like, it's so crazy because black, you know, people can't stand my skin color, but I get around a white person and they're like, oh, it's so cool, oh my goodness, so cool.
Yeah.
But it's like also, but where are you receiving actual love? They killed the black kid, so they don't like your
Exactly.
skin.
And it's
Like
not that it's
this,
so cool, it's just it's they're
different.
not yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say they love it. They're just
Yeah,
enamored with it.
yeah, and also like some of it is a bit of a fetish.
Yeah.
Like they kind of, I think like this is just an experiment for the two when they're walking through that little market, and she's like, "Is it true that black men don't go down on
White
women?
women,
Is
young
that
women,
true?"
yeah.
It's, you know, it's like this is just they're curious about each other.
Yeah. They're testing each other's curiosity. But I still don't them ending up together is
You know who the only
mind
one I liked
blowing.
in this film?
Who?
Paulie.
Yeah, so Polly is with Angie. They supposed to be getting married, but they kind of both seem like they're not really into each other.
Yeah.
Because Angie's, like I said, it seems like they're in their culture or community. Once you turn 22, you get married and you stay in the neighborhood. And they kind of both want something more, but they don't really know how to explore that more. They're
Mm-hmm.
just with each other because it's safe and it's familiar and it's what I guess they're supposed to do. But Polly likes that black girl that keeps coming in the store trying to get him
He's
to go to
really
college.
interested in her, and
Mm-hmm.
it seems like she is the only one who's interested in his development. I mean, even when she's like, "How was your day?" Like it
Mm-hmm.
really seems like she is really interested in how your damn day is going. She's like, "Hey, I picked this up for you." Now, who the fuck? Like, damn! Like, if somebody were to do that for me, like, "Oh, you said you wanted to move to Mississippi. Here goes some listings for some. Here you
I
go."
know, that's
Like, oh my
big.
gosh, oh my
That is
gosh,
major.
yeah. Like, she's pretty. He's attracted to her. Um,
And she was gonna
he's
take the application with her and get in on his behalf. He didn't have to go down there by himself. She was like,
those
fill
two
it
are the
out,
only ones that I don't.
give it back
Those
to
two are.
me, and I'll make it
Paulie
happen.
Paulie stands up to his father in a way that Angie doesn't. But also I think I have to be careful there because Paulie stands up to his father in a way that Angie probably can't. Like she's a temp. Paulie owns the store.
But her daddy will beat her ass. That's the other thing.
Her daddy will beat her ass, and also she don't have access to money in the way Paulie do.
Nope. And because she gonna get kicked out again. She's gonna be on her friend's couch again. Or in that.
And she don't check her friends in the way Paulie checks his friends. Paulie fight them niggas.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me is when they're following Paulie, because Paulie is on his way he's on a date. Like he's about to date her. And that's when he stands up to his father saying, like, I can't be here to take care of you. Yeah. I deserve a life and I'm about to go have one. And when he's walking outside, he's like, one of his friends is like, oh, you think you're better than me? Like, you think you're better than me because you're dating this black woman. But if y'all think black people dirty, what you mean you think you better? So it seems like what he's trying to say is, you think you're more evolved than me.
Yeah.
You think that you're better than me because you have this more liberal sensibility. You're uppity now because that's what those uppity people do. You know, it's a trip. It really is a trip.
To me, it's like when you have people who never leave their hometown. And then the person who leaves their hometown, and it's like, oh, so you fancy now.
Yeah.
Like, you want more for your life? More is right here.
Now that is a biracial union that we should have ended on.
Yeah.
But we don't, you know. And it's the biracial union that we don't really pay attention to because it's not not scandalous because there's no sex. Yeah.
No, it seems like they're just really interested in one another. We ain't talk about Gator and Halle Berry.
I was just so exhausted with Gator. And it's because what do you do? What do you do with Gator? What do you do?
There's nothing you can do. But I think was the interesting part was when Flipper was talking to his dad, or saying how, you know, his dad comes off as being high and mighty, but it's like you got demons too.
Yeah.
And I think that plays out in Gator. Like, whatever the family is trying to cover up, because the good Reverend Doctor, as they call him, and his wife, on the outside, they appear to have this beautiful home. They're married, they're together, they have at least one successful son. Like, everything looks great on the outside, but what's underneath the surface? Like, what are we hiding? What are we covering up? Your kids don't call you dad. They call you your wife calls you the good Reverend Doctor. Like, what are we putting on here?
Yeah.
And
there's something hellish about that house. Even the way it looks, like the foyer area is that deep, rich mahogany that almost looks red. And like, it looks like hell, like a literal representation of hell being like fire, but also the way I don't think that the way he preaches is fire and brimstone-ish. But he speaks in
like parable,
Bible
like
talk.
Proverbs,
Like, it's like what are we doing here? Like, we are in the middle of a fucking crack epidemic, sir. Like,
your son is on crack. Why is
your son is addicted to crack? He knows he got y'all by the balls. Oh, if you don't give me the money, I'm just gonna go steal it from somebody. I'm just gonna knock over an elderly person. Right. That's what you want. It's like it became so. It's like, what do you do with that? What am I supposed to? I would have gave him the money too. I don't want him
To
going
me,
out hurting nobody.
yeah, it's not even about the money, but it's about getting deeper into what is the family struggling with. Because if you have this supposedly intact family, like something ain't right under the surface. Not saying that their son being on crack is their fault, but there's something that's not being
They are not
set. Yeah,
creating, they don't have an environment where that boy, that man has a safe space to land.
right.
If he were like, they don't make being sober attractive at all. Like there's nothing loving about this family.
They're very cold. Like I said, the point. Like they can't even call their dad. Like it's like there's
The
a
mother
distance.
is very loving, but the
Yeah,
mother has to like hide
hide
her
it
love for her son.
because
Like
she's under
she's so damn scared.
of the. She's like, oh, the good Reverend Doctor is going to be home in 10 minutes, so we can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like put that away. Like this is your son. This is your husband. Like be real. Like you can't be honest. There's like this dishonesty that's going around in this family. It's like we can't have an honest conversation. We can't be real with one another. It's like we're just props in this family.
Mm-hmm. The terrible part of me was like, gosh, I hope that Gator finds some peace because this is tearing, like he literally cannot function.
No.
He cannot function. So is he better off? Like not better off for everybody else necessarily, but just better, like you couldn't have been at peace, or even though like his desperation never felt like, please man, please let me get, like, please. It was just like, man, come on, y'all know look, y'all know
This is who I am.
Come on, I don't have time for this. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like tragic in a pornographic sense.
Mm-mm.
It was like tragic in the fact that like he's fine. He's fine with this. Like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I am a junkie.
But the thing, but if you think about addicts, whatever it's not about the drug of choice. It's running away from something. And I don't think, and now people have these conversations where being an addict is a disease. I don't think that was a conversation back in 1991.
Yeah.
But there's something he's trying to escape. There's something that he can't function with in real life.
See, that part is maybe that's how he was introduced to it, right? But at this point, you have a chemical imbalance that is,
there's something wrong with
it.
You can't,
like there's like now it's
help.
like even, but I guess what I'm saying, like what I hear about like meth is that like there is a rewiring almost.
Oh.
Like some of this shit is just chemical at this point. Like that's why detox is painful. It's painful for these people.
Where it's not really a choice anymore.
It's not. It's not. So like, even if, I mean, there are people from very healthy families who get addicted to this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So like but I do understand what you're saying. Like there's something seedy about this family.
I would push back on the healthy part, and they may appear healthy, but there's something under the surface. Because I've heard this with different I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about just the psychology of the different people and families.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you have a child that acts out in whatever way, it's because they can't fake it. Whatever the family trauma is, that's kind of being swept under the rug. There's that one child that can't fake the funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is like that introduced him to that world. That ain't what's keeping, like at this point it's like I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I I also want to know, I wish that there was a little bit more time spent with the father, because it's like, why did they kick you out of your church? Why did they? Like, what did you do? Not because I got a feeling it's more than stubbornness. What did you do? And also you shot your son as opposed to like calling the cops. Which is, I'm not saying that the cops solve issues at all. The
Nope.
cops probably would have got there and shot him. But also, like, he was leaving.
Yep.
He was leaving. And I, of course, it would have been like he was leaving, but yeah, he ain't gonna do nothing but come back.
Yep.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, so I get it, but it felt like a thirst for blood in a way that just felt very like you wanted to kill this man.
Yep.
Like you didn't, like you wanted to kill him.
The scenes of Flip and Drew having sex, we see it in the opening of the movie, and Ming is like kind of happy to see that her parents are, I guess, loving each other. And they're like explaining to her like, oh, parents, we make love because we love each other, and whatever child way they explained it. And then when she doesn't hear it, it kind of feels like, oh, something's wrong. Like I want mommy and daddy to make those funny noises again, because it makes her feel comfortable knowing they have a sex life. And then when Drew and Flip do have sex, they're like, okay, we're not together, but we can do this. And it's like, oh, mommy and daddy back together because I heard the funny noises coming from the room again. So it's like Ming has this relationship or this idea of when her parents are having sex, everything is great. And when they're not, it's not great. It's like her view of what a relationship is kind of being skewed a bit.
That part was odd to me. I can see a child being precocious and be like, you guys were having sex, huh? You know? And I think it's healthy that she's not like, ew, sex. But I also, there's just something weird to me about a kid being like, yes, my parents are having sex. I just was like, I don't know. And maybe this is the immaturity in me. Like, I still don't really care to think about my mom having sex. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all. Maybe that's unhealthy. I don't know. But time we see Flip and Drew together is when they're having sex or when they're fighting.
Yeah.
And so I think that we see more of a family. We think of him as a family man because he's walking his daughter to school. They have breakfast.
But they're kind of separate though.
What do you mean?
Like, yes, he's taking care of his child, but it's kind of
Drew
like
isn't involved in that.
They're separate.
And so, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I think when I see that, I do think family man, but again, I don't see Drew, and so it's what in like I feel like the film probably wanted to anger me, right? Because bitch, I don't even see Drew having dinner with your family, but you gonna bring this white bitch?
Yeah. So it's kind of like
you don't even see Drew with the brother Gator, but Gator done met this white bitch.
It's like Flip was a great dad, but I don't.
Is he?
But I mean, I think he's a good dad. I wouldn't say he's a bad dad. I don't know about him being a good husband.
I don't think that good husband. I don't think that you can be a bad husband and a good dad. I don't think you can be
I
that.
think you can.
I don't
Because there's plenty of
think
single
so at all.
dads that are,
And so
they're single.
yeah, you're single. You're not a husband. You're not a
Right. So
husband.
you cannot be great in a relationship, but be a great parent. I think there's two separate.
I don't think, and I think that's when I said, like, you can have those healthy families. Like, I don't think that any man or any person, like, who mistreats their partner can do so without their children noticing that. And I think that is very problematic. I think that people think, oh, well, the kids don't know. The kids absolutely know. And they see the way you treating your partner, and that is not a part of raising a healthy child, because what are you teaching them? I'm not saying that, like, make mistakes. Like, that's fine. But, like, to me, a bad husband is somebody who, like, is not necessarily making mistakes, but making fucked up choices constantly. Like, there's a pattern of you being a fucking asshole. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, your kid sees that. That's not being a good dad.
I think they're two different things. Yes, your kid can see you being a bad husband, but your kid can also experience you being a loving father. I think they're two separate things. He can be a loving and attentive father who
that they are
child's needs, but not attend to his wife's needs.
If you saw, if Mr. was not abusive to Harpo, would you say that he's a good dad?
No,
even though
he had
beats
2 other kids
even
that
though
we
he
never saw until we saw 3 kids in the beginning, and the kids disappeared.
But let's say Harpo's the only child, and he's so good to Harpo. He's a great dad to Harpo, but he beats Celie. Would you call that a good father? Yeah, is he a good dad? He never abuses Harpo. You would call him a good dad, even though he beats the shit out of Celie in front of him.
Now, when you put abuse
are you teaching your kid how to be in a relationship with a person if you beating them?
No, I think when it comes to, I don't want to get into abuse. Outside of abuse, I think you can have a better relationship with your child than you do with your spouse.
I think so too. I don't think that, like, being a bad father means that your kid has to hate you. I think that, like, it means that you're not a good father because you're not teaching them how to. Let me say this. Maybe you're not a bad father, but you could be a better one. I think that the way you treat people in your life says something about the type of father you are. I do. Like, I don't think you can be. I don't think you're 100% as a father if you a fucking hoe and cheating on your wife. Them kids gonna know that. You ain't teaching them right.
What if you don't have a wife? Okay, well, I get your point in teaching about relationships, but I feel like there's so many other aspects to being a father outside of just who you're with.
Yes. And
if you're single,
I'm not counting. Yeah, and hey, I'm pro hoe. If you a hoe and everybody is consenting to this whoredom and you don't have a relationship, I think that's fine. I think it's like, hey kids, this is a type of family dynamic. Like, but if you are in a family dynamic where we are in a monogamous relationship and you ain't supposed to step out and I'm not supposed to step out, and, like, you made a mistake, you slept with the girl, all right, like, I ain't got a problem with that. My problem is you introducing this girl to your people, like you continuously, like, disrespecting me. You are not a good father. You not. Like, you introduce, no. Do you see what you're doing to my mother? How are you a good father? No ma'am.
I wonder if Drew got along with Flipper's parents.
I think that.
You think they did?
That's probably one of the reasons he married Drew, because she light skinned.
His parents didn't approve.
Oh, I think they did. I think they did approve. Yeah. I think bringing that light skinned woman home, I think that man, that stubborn pastor was so proud. I do.
I wonder, because when he mentioned about because Drew is biracial in the movie.
Yes.
So I wonder like how Flip's parents felt about Drew being biracial, if they have a problem with interracial relationships.
Especially if it was, because he it seemed like the dad don't like it at all. Drew's mother is black.
Yeah.
Drew's
Her
father
dad is white.
I think that people can be critical about race, but still prefer light-skinned people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Ruby Dee is not the darkest woman.
True.
Now, I could see if, like, the father was like, it's black around here. I only want a deep chocolate sister. You know, I feel like people can understand the history of biracial coupling. And not to say that all biracial coupling is a form of, you know, goes back to like enslaved people being raped by white people. I understand, like, I'm not trying to be like daft in that way, but I feel like it was a whole bunch of black people who be real pro-black
and date
until
white
until it comes time to talk about colorism.
Oh.
And they can't wait to be with something light skinned. That's how I feel. And I think that Drew is feminine. I think that she's pretty. I think that she wants to be submissive in a way. So when he's saying, I'm going to ask them to be partner, and she says, well, I just try not to get your hopes up too much. Like, I want you to be prepared just in case they say no. Say no. They're never going to say no. Oh yeah, yes, you're right, honey. Oh yes, you're absolutely right. Yep. That's being submissive in a way.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because you don't. And so I think that that's the perfect person that his father wants him to be with. Was this a happy ending or was it a sad ending?
It was a weird ending. He's walking down the street with his daughter, and then Halle Berry comes up talking about I can suck your dick for $2, and then they do it again, and then it's like this other woman does it, and it's almost like, I don't know if this new woman's supposed to be his daughter grown up, and he starts screaming in the air. I thought it was weird.
I think that woman is supposed to represent the youth, right? So in a way, it does represent his daughter. When Halle Berry walks up to him, she's clearly disheveled. Yep. She's dirty. She only has like a bra and a jacket on. Like, she looks like she hasn't eaten. She looks like an addict. This girl walks up to him and it kind of like she going to work out. Like
Yeah.
it looks like she, like, her hair is done. She looks, I wouldn't think twice about her. I would be like, oh, she on her way to the grocery store, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I'll suck your dick for $2. You know what I'm saying? The number, when Halle Berry said it, she was like, $5. All right, 3. This girl's starting at 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's, I think it becomes sad. It's sad because it's like, damn, like this is so pervasive. Like not just this is not just people on the fringe anymore. I think he gets a glimpse of that when he goes to what Gator calls the Taj Mahal,
Yeah.
where it's just a den of crack.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeing businessmen
Yeah.
walk out.
White
You know what I'm
people.
saying? Like, yes. Now, what's so crazy about that is I love the song Living for the City. And that's what's playing. It's because,
Stevie
like you said,
Wonder
Stevie Wonder did the whole soundtrack.
movie.
So while he's like that whole scene, and I'm just up here like da 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 da, like this is my jam, and I was like, damn, like he is just in this den of addicts, and it is sad, it is seedy, it's smoke everywhere. I'm surprised he wasn't coughing soon as he went in there.
I know. We didn't throw up.
Yeah. So, but it's not just people who look like addicts. This girl didn't look like an addict. She had no scars on her face.
No.
Like she had no, she didn't look completely malnourished. She looked,
Yeah.
she was dressed like
It's
she looked
everywhere.
quote unquote regular. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that it's like, if this could happen to this girl, this could happen to
Anybody.
anybody. And
Yep.
I mean, it does take these are like the two different conversations that are being had, like biracial dating, race relations in New York City, crack,
Mm-hmm.
and so we end with the conversation about the drugs as opposed to the conversation about what the film is named for.
You got jungle fever. So, do they get together, Drew and? Because they get back. Wait, Drew and Flip. They have sex again with the window open, right?
Yeah.
But they're not together, right?
It's given there's a chance. So it's
Yeah.
given, hey, you need to leave before we
Ming
have
wakes up,
breakfast.
but Ming is already up, and she was thinking, yes, my parents is back together.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know that, no, baby, sex don't mean your parents get back together.
Yeah. I think they will get back together, though.
Probably.
I think they will. Child, my ass was sitting up here wondering, like, Flip moved out of that little studio he bought, which I thought was so. When I saw it, I was
It
like,
was
oh my
cute.
gosh, like it's so cute. But you saying you leaving tomorrow as if the lease is up, so we just breaking leases? So what's happening?
I know, right?
See, this is what I'm thinking. This is why I
And how
can't be
Gator know where
taken.
you was? Gator got to, like, he sniff you out. He like, oh, my smelling my brother liver here.
I would love to know how Gator fucking find out this shit. I would love to fucking know. Because
he was like, that you with a white girl?
If Gator
what?
know, do Drew know?
I know,
do
right?
Drew know? Is she ever gonna walk in and find you with Angie?
That's wild. Not only your husband cheated on you, but he got a new apartment and moved the chick he was cheating with into the new apartment. That is low. And took her to dinner at your parents' house. That's crazy.
Took her to dinner around town. Queen Latifah don't want to serve them. Queen Latifah playing the waitress.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bitch, I don't want to tell y'all the specials.
Y'all was
at
dating.
all.
That's crazy.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another film and more opinions. Leave a review and tell us what you'd like for us to watch. And let's keep the convo going on Instagram. You can find us at Curry Gumbo. Be well. Happy watching. Love y'all. Bye.